Good afternoon, and thank you very much for this invitation. It's a pleasure to spend some time with all of you, with such a young crowd, and it's a good opportunity to say a few words about the international moment we are living in and the importance of the UN and multilateralism. As you know, we celebrate today the 80th anniversary of the foundation of the United Nations. This anniversary comes at a very delicate moment when multilateralism is definitely challenged by many and on many different fronts. It has been said before, conflicts, great power competition, fragmentation, polarization, all these developments, of course, create a sort of stress test for multilateralism. At the same time, the situation is the following. We are facing a world more and more interdependent. It's a small village where we face common challenges from climate change to global health, food security, AI, new technologies, and so on. All these common challenges need common and global solutions. That's why multilateralism is not a choice but a necessity. And the UN, with all the problems that it's facing, is the only global institution where the interest and of all member states can be represented, where all the interests of those states can be voiced. So we need definitely, this is my message, to work together to defend and strengthen the UN. It has been said by many, I repeat it, if the UN did not exist, they would be reinvented. And of course, the UN needs to be reformed, to be adapted to the rapid changing times, to the new reality of the 21st century. But one thing is to engage, to reform the UN, to better this organization. A completely different thing is to take distance or betray the principles that originated the organization 8 years ago. I think that the purpose of the UN remains valid and very relevant for today's reality. If you look at the preamble of the UN Charter, the reason why the UN were created, the preamble talks about, among the purposes of the UN, to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, reaffirming faith in fundamental human rights, equality of rights between men and women, and of nations, large and small, to promote social progress and better standards of life. And of course, it's obvious that many of these purposes and goals have not been achieved, certainly not war, or even the respect of equal rights between men and women, between equal rights between small and large nations. As you know, we see from the conflicts which are ongoing that those purposes were not achieved. Also, the Agenda 2030, which is the main platform for sustainable development, as you know, has been, the SDGs have been achieved only 17%, and we have only 5 years to go. But again, the aspirations that were set in the UN Charter and which have been reaffirmed along these years, including the Agenda 2030 and the Pact for the Future, which was adopted September last year, are still relevant. And we need to work together to try to implement them. We have no choice rather than to strengthen multilateralism and the UN to face these common challenges. And it's not only with politics, sustainable development. Let me also highlight one part of the international system which is today under attack, under stress, which is global trade, free trade. As you know, 8 years ago, the Bretton Woods institutions and WTO, at that time the GATT, the General Agreement on Trade and Targets, were created to have a world of free trade for common prosperity. And of course, if you look at what is the situation today, in these days, definitely you are legitimate in asking yourself the question, how come we ended up in this state of divisions, fragmentations? And of course, we should ask this question, but at the same time, and try to not to despair. We need to recuperate the spirit of dialogue, cooperation, and to avoid trade wars, which are lose-lose, do not benefit anyone, also dangerous for trust and among countries, among people, and for the stability of the planet. And let's not forget what these trade wars led during the 30s, between the two wars, with the rise of trade wars and currency devaluation, competitive devaluation, and nationalism, and we know what happened afterwards. So we need to definitely to engage also in this area of trade to try to recuperate a spirit of cooperation among member states. Again, also on trade, multilateralism is the only choice for us. Let me just add something, because I said this is important, the 8 years of the UN. It's also important for Italy and a group of 15 more countries that joined the UN 70 years ago. So we celebrated this year the 70th anniversary of Italy's membership of the UN. At that time, we managed to become member of the UN thanks to a moment of detente between the two major superpowers. So I hope that this spirit could also be replicated today in this fragmented, polarized world. These 70 years for Italy have been very beneficial. We try to give maximum contribution to multilateralism, being active in different areas, from peace and security to sustainable development to human rights. Let me just remind you that Italy is among the Western countries the biggest contributor to UN troops, thanks particularly to our presence in UNIFIL in Lebanon, where we deployed more than 1,000 soldiers. But we have conducted important battles also in the area of human rights, in particular the resolution on the moratorium on death penalty, women's rights, particularly the battle against mutilation, feminine genital mutilation, and others. And also in the area of sustainable development, we have been very much engaged in Agenda 2030, but in particular on one aspect, which is food security, which remains one of our flagship in our multilateral activity here in New York. And so we Italy will keep on being engaged on, to strengthen the UN, to strengthen multilateralism. Together with the EU, you know, the European Union is a major multilateral actor. And we think that in a moment of, let's say, even crisis like today, we should double our engagement, our commitment to try to foster, again, cooperation, mutual understanding. The world is too small, too interdependent to fight against one against the other. And I think a big responsibility also is with you, with the young generations, young people. You need to engage yourself and to be proactive in defending the values and the spirit of multilateralism. Thank you very much.